Tennessee is taking its talents down to South Beach for the Orange Bowl against Clemson. Why this is a major win for the University of Tennessee, despite a weekend where it lost its offensive coordinator. A busy Monday show right now. Locked on Vols.
You are Locked on Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into it. This is Locked on Vols, and I'm your host, Eric Kane, @_Kaner on Twitter, @Locked on Vols. Get in those Twitter Tuesday questions for the mailbag show. That is coming up tomorrow. If you're new to the show, welcome to it. Appreciate you for hanging out with us here today. We're Locked on Vols. It's a part of Locked on Podcast Network, your team every single day, and we have a ton to discuss. If you're watching us on YouTube, like it. Please subscribe to the show. We're about 500 away, maybe 400 away, can't remember, from 6,000 subs. Let's get to 6,000 subs by the time we get to Christmas. That's what I want, 6K by the time we get to Christmas. It is very doable, so if you're watching and haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Got a whole lot to get into today. It was a busy weekend for the Tennessee football team, which did not have a football game, right? The college football playoff rankings and college football playoff field was set. Tennessee is going to the Orange Bowl. Tennessee's offensive coordinator, Alex Golesh, is heading to University of South Florida. A whole lot to get into. There was Dabo Swinney and Josh Heupel had their Orange Bowl press conference on Sunday. We're going to break all that down. We're going to hear from both head coaches coming up in segment number 3. So buckle up, and we'll get down into it. The college football playoff field is set. Georgia is the number 1 overall seed. Michigan is at number 2. TCU is at 3. Ohio State is at number 4. So that means number 1, Georgia is taking on number 4, number 4, Ohio State in one of the semifinal games. That's not right. And number 2, Michigan's playing number 3, TCU. If you're Michigan right now, you are thrilled. I mean, you are thrilled. The playoff committee says, was asked about it after after the field was announced. The chairman, Boo Carrington, I believe is his name, he was asked, hey, what was the thought process of putting Ohio State 4th and TCU 3rd? Was it to avoid a potential semifinal rematch between Michigan and Ohio State? He deflected, said absolutely not. We were focusing on getting the criteria and all that stuff in shape and in the right way, getting the 4 teams in, yada, yada. I mean, that's the biggest load of BS I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I don't care, right? But I mean, if I'm a Georgia fan right now, I am pissed off because you got to play Ohio State, a team that is very capable of beating you in the semifinal round, where you should be playing TCU, which lost in the the Big 12 conference title game. Again, TCU has continued to amaze me this year. They proved me wrong a couple of times, but again, I mean, TCU would be a double-digit underdog if it took on Georgia in the semifinal round. So if I'm Georgia, I'm pissed. If I'm Michigan, I'm saying, woo! All right, nothing's a gimme, but I'm pretty much going to try to lock myself into a college football playoff berth, right? Championship berth. But that is the field of 4. First seed is Georgia. Second seed is Michigan. Third seed is TCU. Fourth seed is Ohio State. Alabama comes in at the 5th seed at number 5. And then, of course, Tennessee is at their number 6. That means since Alabama placed above Tennessee, it will go to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, while Tennessee will head to the Orange Bowl. Hey, I mean, you guys know my thoughts on this. I said it all last week. I'm fine with the Orange Bowl. South Beach, Miami, warm weather. It's a good matchup. Tennessee's taking on the ACC champion in Clemson. I'm excited about it. I think that's a really, really good spot. I think Tennessee fans will travel. I think Tennessee fans will be juiced up and amped up for this. If Tennessee was in the Cotton Bowl like we thought would happen last week, if USC didn't lose, USC would have took care of business and it would have made the field of play. We thought that Ohio State would likely get the Orange Bowl, and then Tennessee be pushed to the Cotton Bowl. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it would be. I'd be excited to go and everything, but it just wouldn't have that flair in terms of that big time showdown. Tennessee, Clemson. I would be excited about it. If you're watching and listening right now, I'm sure you are as well. A lot of you guys have already messaged me saying, hey, I bought my tickets. I'm ready to roll. So I know you're excited. But Tennessee should have been 5th. I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. It is what it is. Criteria, head to flippin' head. You thought I was going to say another word there. Head to flippin' head has to matter. It's got to matter. Alabama 10-2, Tennessee 10-2. I mean, At what point does that not matter anymore? I mean, again, you have the same record, okay? And you lost to the team that's ranked behind you. It makes absolutely no sense. And I know a lot of you guys are frustrated. It was a really, really bad look. When Nick Saban went on, I don't even know what network it was. It the Big Ten halftime shows? I don't know what it was. Going live to Nick Saban in his living room. And he's pretty much campaigning for Alabama to be in the college football playoff field. I don't blame him. I don't blame him whatsoever. But Nick, sir, I mean, take a seat, brother. You're not getting in. That's what I thought Saturday nights. I mean, just a bad look in his criteria for saying, oh, well, if we played any of these teams, we'd probably be favored, per Vegas right now. I agree with you, but you were also favored to beat Tennessee by a touchdown. You were also favored to beat LSU on the road by 2 touchdowns, and you didn't. So whatever Vegas says doesn't matter. Vegas has built a whole city on everybody else's money. They're good. What Vegas says doesn't matter in that regard. I mean, there's just so much things you got to roll your eyes at right here. So, I mean, again, no surprise. Alabama ranked ahead of Tennessee. It's not the end of the world. Tennessee in the Orange Bowl is a great spot. I know the older generation, the Sugar Bowl means something. I get that. Tennessee should be in the Sugar Bowl. Tennessee should be right number 5, but you got that big A across your helmets, or they actually don't have A's on their helmets. You know what I'm trying to say. You got that Alabama, and what Alabama's done the last 15 years, it means something. It means something to the committee. It does, and it shouldn't, because it should only matter what has happened this year. Alabama's a good football team, no doubt about it. But Alabama should not have been ranked ahead of Tennessee. But regardless, Tennessee, the Orange Bowl, it's in a really, really good spot. The rest of the rankings, of course, Clemson's at 7, Utah's at 8, Kansas State is at 9. How about that win? How about that K-State win in the Big 12 championship game, right? Southern Cal drops to number 10. It was a fun championship weekend, Saturday, but of course, the Pac-12 kicked it off. Number 11 Utah beat the brakes off number 4 USC, pulled away late, and Caleb Williams, still put up some pretty decent numbers, but with that loss, that's loss number 2. We'll have to see what that does for his Heisman odds, which are just totally all over the place right now. Hey, I'm pretty sure tonight at the end of SportsCenter is when they're going to announce the Heisman finalists. So I am super intrigued to see exactly what's going to happen there. If Hendon is going to be a Heisman Trophy finalist. I hope that he is, but of course, we're just going to have to see. But Utah kicked it off, taking down USC. Georgia outlasted LSU. I mean, I say outlasted, it's 50-30. How about 30 points on Georgia's defense? How about Garrett Nussmeier? I mean, Jaden Daniels comes in, or Jaden Daniels gets hurt, and Nussmeier comes in, plays well. But, of course, it was Georgia taking control of that game 50-30, and it was never in doubt. So Georgia's the SEC champion, of course. Michigan, it was pretty close at halftime, but Michigan pulled away and took care of Purdue 43-22. Clemson wasn't even close. They went to Cade Klubnik, the backup quarterback, after 2 3-and-outs, and that's noteworthy for Tennessee. We'll talk more on that in a moment, but Clemson beat the brakes off of North Carolina. Tulane won over UCF. That was in a Group of 5 championship, the AAC. But the game that everybody was watching, everybody was dialed into, was Kansas State over TCU, winning that game in overtime 31-28. That was a fun football game to watch. So, again, it was a really, really cool football weekend. I love Championship Saturday. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year, and I wish Tennessee was playing on it, no doubt about it. But when you saw USC lose Friday night, you knew Ohio State was going into the top 4. It was going into the college football playoff. Therefore, you knew that Tennessee was going to be back in that Orange Bowl favor. The only question was Alabama going to jump TCU? TCU, because of the resume, because it was the only one loss of the season, TCU remains in the field of play, and it remains at number 3. So, again, it's all about perspective. What do you view more? How do you view things? I agree with you. It's kind of tough because at the end of the day, you want the 4 best teams in there, but how in the world are you going to put Alabama in there when it's got 2 losses? When you look at an Ohio State team, it's got 1 loss against the number 2 seed in the field. How are you going to look at TCU and look at everything it's accomplished, and the only blemish on the radar is a 3-point overtime loss in the Big 12 championship game? It's tough. I mean, I understand. If I'm an Alabama fan, I'm sitting here saying, hey, I've got the best player in the country, and I've got arguably the best team in the country. That can be true, but at some point, losses have to matter. So, anyway, that's kind of my view on it. I thought Nick Saban, it an embarrassing look. Him going on that Big 10 halftime show, lobbying and campaigning. I understand why the network did it, for ratings. Nick Saban is Nick Saban. He's built that reputation. He's earned that. But I thought it was a bad look. But anyway, Tennessee is going to the Orange Bowl. Tennessee is in a good spot. The fans will travel. It's going to be sunny, maybe. It's going to be hot, hopefully. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a fun week, and I've already got my plane ticket down there to cover that entire week of Orange Bowl preparations with press conferences and team outings and all that. I'll be down there Christmas night. So I am super, super excited about all that. All right, when we come back, though, hey, actually more on this a little bit. We're going to hear from Josh Heupel and Dabo Swinney in segment number 3 from the press conference. But I want to get into the other big topic, the other major topic of the weekend. And, of course, that would be Alex Golesh leaving for USF. That is coming up next right here on a Locked On Vols. But I want to remind you guys about a proud sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network, and of course, Locked On Vols here. I'm going to buy it for my family for Christmas. I bought it last year. It's Omaha Steaks. All right, it's quality, convenience, everything you need to deliver an unforgettable holiday gift experience. It's America's original butcher since 1917, and a holiday gift that's guaranteed to be loved. The holidays are here. You can achieve gifting greatness when you gift a perfectly aged, tender, and delicious Omaha steak. I told you guys this last week. I knocked out my Christmas shopping last year for my dad, for my soon-to-be father-in-law, for my soon-to-be stepfather-in-law, for my uncle. I knocked it out because, hey, we're guys here, right? The majority of us listening are guys, and even you ladies out there, you love a good burger, love a good steak, and everything that is offered in this pack here for 30% off is fantastic from Omaha Steaks. And spent time fellowshipping and grilling and hanging out throughout the year. It's the perfect gift, especially for us guys that don't like to think about things and just want to go do, right? Just here's my credit card number. Let's go ahead and buy this. You can send an assortment of mouth-watering flavors guaranteed to impress, like the legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra-juicy burgers, even easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. All you need to do is go to omahasteaks.com, use that promo code LOCKEDON, and check out. Omaha Steaks is the gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to get an extra $30 off. That is promo code LOCKEDON for an extra $30 off. Minimum order may be required. All right, everybody, it's your Monday edition of Locked On Vols. Welcome back into it. Segment number 2. Let's talk a little Alex Golesh. Oh, real quick, before I forget, don't forget to get in your Twitter Tuesday questions. It's when you take over the show. I'll spend tomorrow as much time as we need answering your questions at _Caner and at Locked On Vols, your mailbag show that is coming up tomorrow. Alex Golesh leaving Tennessee after 2 seasons and heading down to USF, South Florida, to become the next head football coach. First and foremost, congratulations to Alex Golesh. I think he is a nice guy. Every interaction I've had with him, speaking in terms of recruiting and or just conversations about the team and in press conference settings and the hallways out there, a super nice guy. I've gone to cover Vol calls a couple of times over the last 2 years, go and speak with some assistant coaches there for the Vol Network, and he's been awesome. He really is just a nice guy, and I do think he has a really bright football mind. I think it's evident in seeing Tennessee's offense run. Of course, this is Josh Heupel's offense, but those guys were together for 3 football seasons, and you could tell this year, a big way. So congratulations to Alex Golesh. That is awesome stuff. But, what does this mean for Tennessee? News broke late Saturday night. I think Brett McMurphy was the first to report it. Matt Zenitz of On3 also reported. We jumped on there, VolQuest, and it became official Sunday morning that Alex Golesh is leaving Tennessee, and he is taking over as head coach at South Florida. Alex Golesh, a part of Josh Heupel's offense, a major part of Josh Heupel's offense. This past season, Tennessee led the nation in scoring at 47.3 points per game, total offense at 538.1 yards per game. He's been named a finalist for the 2022 Broyles Award, which, again, that'll be announced. I believe I wrote all this down. I can't find it. I believe the Broyles Award is announced tonight. If it's not tonight, it's tomorrow. Apologies. But I think it's announced tonight, and that is given to the nation's top assistant football coach each and every year. It's very deserving. I mean, really deserving. You look at last year, this offense in 2021, shattered 8-team single-season records for points, 511, which they broke that this past season with 568. Total offensive yards at 6174, touchdowns at 67, PATs at 67, first downs at 316, rushing first downs at 164, fewest interceptions thrown at 3, passing efficiency at 167.10. Those are all program records that Josh Heupel with Alex Golesh broke in year 1 in 2021 in Knoxville. Of course, we know about leading the nation in yards per game and scoring this year, but also you've got potentially a Heisman finalist in Hendon Hooker. Without a doubt, an All-American in Hendon Hooker, without a doubt, an All-SEC guy in Hendon Hooker, and Jalen Hyatt, a Biletnikoff Award finalist as well. Man, I mean, a lot of that has to do with Alex Golesh and scheming things up and coaching these guys up and putting them in position to be successful. So, congratulations to him, man. I mean, he's been a huge part of what Tennessee's done. Tennessee this year, the only team in the nation to average over 300 yards passing and over 200 yards rushing. Led the nation in rushing touchdowns with 39 as well. Again, it's not all Alex Golesh. A lot of it's Josh Heupel. A lot of it's Glenn Ellerbe and Joey Halsey and Jerry Mack and all these other guys that help out on the offense side of the football. But, I mean, you're the OC, baby. I mean, pump that chest. I mean, all that's under your name. And there's such a misconception about, well, is it Josh Heupel calling plays? Is it Alex Golesh calling plays? Well, first and foremost, what I can tell you, what at least I know, all those coaches, dive into the game plans, right? I mean, these coaches, they start prepping and they meet immediately after games the next day, and they put together a game plan for that next week. I mean, Alex Golesh, that's pretty much his game plan. He puts that thing together, right? I mean, sure, Josh Heupel has a hand in as well, but Alex Golesh does a lot of that heavy lifting. And on Saturdays, of course, he calls some plays. Does he call every single play? I wouldn't say that. Does he call plays that Josh Heupel was going to call anyway? Yes. Why? Because they are in sync. They are on one wavelength. They are, speaking the same language and what they're trying to accomplish. And that's where that trust factor is. And so, for Tennessee, what's the move here? Are you going to go? Here's the caveat as well. Alex Golesh is the offensive coordinator. Okay. Alex Golesh is also the tight ends coach. Most offensive coordinators out there coach quarterbacks, okay? You got a quarterbacks coach in Joey Halsey. He ain't going anywhere. He is literally an extension of Josh Heupel. He's coached with him for the 13 years. He started coaching with him, then took some time off, then came back. He played for Josh Heupel, if I'm not mistaken, at Oklahoma a little bit. He was never a stud or anything, but I'm pretty sure Joey Halsey was in that same quarterback room that Sam Bradford was in. Anyway, that's a research for another day. He is literally an extension of Josh Heupel. Joey Halsey's going nowhere. So if you were to make an external hire, in my opinion, unless you're going to shuffle the deck here or something and, bring in an offense coordinator to maybe coach running backs, move Jerry Mack to tight end, I don't think that's likely. But I'm just saying Kelsey Pope's not moving from receivers and Halsey ain't moving from quarterbacks. I think you're going to, and this is, just right now here on a Monday, things can change and things often do change. And this is just kind of what I think will happen. We'll continue to keep tabs on it. I think you're going to make an internal. I think you're going to promote Joey Halsey, give him the title as OC, as co-OC or whatever. And Josh Heupel's just going to, call every single play until he can mold Joey and kind of get him to where he needs to be. Will that take a year? Probably not. Will that take 10 years? Probably not. Somewhere in between. I'm sure that in 2020 and Josh Heupel and Josh Heupel and Alex Golesh's first year together at UCF, I'm sure Josh Heupel didn't let Alex Golesh call 99% of the plays. I guarantee you that's not what happened. But by the time he got to Tennessee in 2021, he had a little bit more. And by the time this year, he had, pretty much full reign, I would assume. So that's just kind of what I think is going to happen. Because if you make an external hire, you got to hire a tight ends coach. You've got to. And how many offensive coordinators are also coaching tight ends? I would go out on a limb and say probably not many. So what I think is going to happen is you'll promote Joey Halsey, make him an internal, internal hire, slap the OC title on him, mold him, groom him, but Josh Heupel very much calling every single play, at least for the first year. That's what I think will happen. So we will have to see. But Alex Golesh, big part of what Tennessee's been under Josh Heupel. But I do think it's a loss. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. I mean, you're not losing your head coach, right? You're not losing a coordinator that you're going to have to go find another coordinator and completely start over. This is Josh Heupel's offense. This is Josh Heupel's scheme, and this is Josh Heupel's team. So it is a loss. I'm not going to act like it's not a loss, but is this a devastating blow? I don't think so. But congratulations to Alex Golesh. He's taken over South Florida. 1-11 this past year, but did make a huge investments into the facilities, and now they're making an investment into Alex Golesh. So Tennessee loses its offensive coordinator over the weekend, and we'll have to see exactly how big of a loss that is in the coming months, but I think Tennessee will be just okay. When we return here on Locked On Vols, let's hear from the head coaches of the Orange Bowl, Tennessee's Josh Heupel and Clemson's Dabo Swinney, on playing in the Orange Bowl, all that type of good stuff. And plus, there's a quote in here that I'm going to throw in from Heupel on Alex Golesh. We'll explain here in just a moment when we return right here on Locked On Vols. Hey, at Locked On Vols, we believe home should be where you and your family feel the safest, especially over the holidays. This season, give yourself and your family the gift of peace and protection with the #1 rated home security, that is SimpliSafe. And right now, SimpliSafe is offering Locked On Vols listeners 40% off a new security system. Don't push this off. Here is why I love it. They got 24/7 professional monitoring agents using Fast Protect technology exclusively from SimpliSafe to capture criteria evidence that verify if the threat is real, so you can get a higher priority on police response. It's the whole home security, advanced sensors for every single room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion and alert you only when a threat is real, and it even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Again, I mentioned 24/7 professional monitoring services that cost under $1 a day, less than half the price of a traditional home security system. Top-rated SimpliSafe apps, stay in complete control of your system today. Don't miss your chance to save big on your family security system. Get 40% off any new system. That's at simplysafe.com/lockedoncollege. That's at simplysafe.com/lockedoncollege. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. We got one final segment left here on your Monday edition of Locked On Vols. Guys, appreciate you being here. I'm Eric Kane, your host. You can find me on Twitter to send me your Twitter Tuesday mailbag questions for tomorrow's show. That's at _Kaner, and that's at Locked On Vols. All right, so let's hear from the head coaches of Tennessee and Clemson for, of course, the Orange Bowl. Now, this was the Orange Bowl Selection Sunday press conference. Josh Heupel looked like he was at the facility and he had good Wi-Fi, and he was probably Ethernet corded in. He was good. You had Dabo Swinney that was on a private jet, and he was likely, going somewhere to recruit for the next day or for that night. So Dabo Swinney is very much choppy, but you can still hear him for the most part. Let's start with Josh Heupel. On that note of Alex Golesh leaving for South Florida, the question was asked, how do you kind of fill that void? What do you think about Alex Golesh, accepting that job offer? It cracks me up. I laughed in real time. I laughed cutting up this audio. What he says when asked about Alex Golesh at the very top of this clip. Give it a listen. This is Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel on his former offensive coordinator Alex Golesh now accepting the head coaching job at South Florida.
Yeah, certainly losing Alex is something that we're excited about. I think it speaks to the growth inside of our program. And when I say that, just that, the success that we're having on the field, the style of play, the culture that we have inside of our building, for him to have an opportunity to go run his own program is one that I am and our staff are excited for him to have that opportunity. And in the coming days, we'll understand how we want to fill that out on the recruiting trail, and then as we get into game preparation as well. But excited for him. And again, I think it speaks so well to what our players and our staff have done in a short amount of time here at Tennessee.
He says, hey, losing Alex, something we're excited about. I know what he's saying, but it just always it caught me off guard the first time I heard it. But he's right. I mean, it's a testament to the program, testament to the rest of the staff, to the young men in that locker room. I mean, gosh, I sound so freaking old when I say young men in that locker room. But no, it truly is. You are not in a good spot unless programs are trying to come and get your guys to be head coaches. Look at Alabama, right? I mean, it's a cycle of new DCs and OCs and all that type of stuff pretty much every year, it feels like. So you're doing something right. But that was Tennessee's Josh Heupel on Alex Golesh accepting the head coaching job at South Florida. This Orange Bowl, what about, I mean, what's your team going to look like? Of course, Hendon Hooker's not going to be playing. I would be shocked if Cedric Tillman plays. He's not made any announcement, but for his injury riddle that he's been all season long, I would be shocked if he took the chance of putting himself in harm's way again to get hurt before the draft. So we'll see if he'll play. Jalen Hyatt, Darnell Wright, we'll find out sooner or later. But here's Josh Heupel on asking, or when asked about potential opt-outs, he thinks that it's going to be pretty much a full squad. Give this a listen.
Yeah, I certainly expect most of our guys to be there. There's guys that are still gaining information, and guys that were nicked up on the back half of the season that guys see where they get to here over the coming days and make a smart, educated decision for them and their future. But this is a special football game. This is important to our program. It's important to our players inside of the locker room, especially. I certainly believe that we'll have a majority, if not a full roster, when we get down there for it.
Yeah, you heard both head coaches. You'll hear from Dabo Swinney here in just a moment. You heard both head coaches throughout this press conference just continue to praise and talk about how excited they are to be in the Orange Bowl. And again, I get it. The college football playoff, these New Year's Six bowl games, they don't mean anything anymore. In 2024, I mean, when the college football playoff is expanded to 12 teams, I mean, good grief. Like, I understand that a lot of these will be, the New Year's Six bowl games will be in that cycle as well, but still, I mean, bowl games mean nothing anymore. So for the coaches to recognize the history of college football, and I mean, Josh Heupel won a national championship, at the Orange Bowl, right? The history of college football, what these bowl games mean and represent. I think you just got to continue to beat it over the head the entire month, right? Keep your team motivated. And again, it's not because I feel like the players don't care. It's just you live in a world where if you're not in the college football playoff, what are you doing? So I kind of get it from that perspective. But anyway, Josh Heupel talking about how he thinks he'll have a close to a full roster. We'll see. There'll be movements there for sure. Dabo Swinney, he jumped on the call from his private jets, and he is jacked up and thrilled to be going to the Orange Bowl to take on a great team in Tennessee. Give this a listen.
Because it is an iconic, bowl experience, and one that I know everyone will enjoy being a part of. Eric Palms and the entire Orange Bowl staff, they do an amazing job, as does everybody that's affiliated with this bowl. So, and then you throw in the fact that you get a chance to compete against a team like Tennessee that may be the best team in the country this year. They are one of those teams that certainly can play with anybody, and they showed that all year. So it's a great matchup, and I know both teams, both fan bases will be super excited to see these teams compete on the field. But we're thankful for the opportunity, and again, really proud of our team for how they competed and to win this ACC championship and earn the right to get back to the Orange Bowl in New Year's Six. So.
Yeah, it's something I just noticed watching that clip. I didn't notice it in real time. I didn't notice it when I plugged this on another thing I was doing. There was a guy about 40 seconds into the clip. That's a bathroom cabinet, right? He comes out the door and he sees that Dabo Swinney's doing some type of hit, and he's sitting there like, oh. So if you're watching on YouTube, go back if you missed it. The guy comes out of the what looks like the crapper. It's like, oh no, I'm on potentially national television. Oh, that's funny. But anyway, that's Dabo Swinney. He's singing the praise of Tennessee. And again, 2 weeks ago, he's talking about Tennessee, overlooking a team and sending hope on championship weekend and flipping burgers and drinking beer, only for Dabo Swinney to go out and lose to that same team that just took down Tennessee. So, again, his comments didn't really sit too well, but and some of the other stuff he says about name, image, and likeness back when the thing became back in a couple years ago when you knew it was coming. Saying how he'd never recruit a guy that was focused on NIL to Clemson. Well, okay, then you're not going to be Clemson any longer. Anyway, that's Dabo Swinney, jacked up about the Orange Bowl and jacked up about playing Tennessee, saying Tennessee is arguably might be the best team in the country. I agree with him. I mean, they continue to go on. I don't know if it's in this clip or if it won't be in the clip I'm about to play to wrap up the show. But I mean, talking about, it's not the playoff, but man, I mean, Clemson's a good football team. Tennessee is a good football team. This is awesome. This is a great matchup. The Music City Bowl was fun last year because Tennessee was exciting and good again, but I mean, nobody's juiced up to play Purdue, and I know you lost to a shorthanded Purdue team as well. You're going to be playing with a backup quarterback, but this should be a really good game. It should be. Also, Clemson's going to have a new quarterback. Clemson pulled DJ quarterback, Ukulele or whatever his name is, put in freshman K. Klubnik, and he went 20-24, 279 yards, that had a passing touchdown, ran for a touchdown, had over 310 yards total in the game. A really highly touted recruit coming out of high school, made the move. DJ quarterback is headed to the transfer portal. Tennessee's going to be going up against a new Clemson quarterback. What are the expectations for Klubnik from Dabo Swinney against Tennessee, and what will be his first ever collegiate football start? Give this a listen.
Hopefully just, first of all, great preparation like he's been having, but then just, playing within the system and, just being smart with the ball and just, doing what he's coached to do. And I thought he did an amazing job of that last night. And, so really just hopefully pick up where he left off. But he was accurate, made good decisions outside of maybe one or two in the run game. He extended some plays, did some things with his legs. So just continue to, again, play within the system, bring that great energy and protect the football.
And that was Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney from his private jet during the Orange Bowl. A little press conference there on Selection Sunday. All right, that was a lot to unpack. We went through a ton. If I had more time throughout the weekend, I would have done a video earlier Sunday, but Sunday was a work day for me. I just didn't have the time. We'll continue to break down, Alex Golesh, the USF, Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. We will break down Clemson from every which angle we will over the next month or so. I meant to bring up Tennessee basketball as soon as the show started, and I just didn't. Tennessee 94-40, a winner over Alcorn State without Santiago Vescovi, smothering defense on the night. Where Alcorn State shot just 27.1% from the field, 20% in the second half, where it made only 6 field goals altogether in that second half of play. Tennessee, now, what is Tennessee now? Let's see here. I can't find the record. Oh, they just have one loss. 7-1. 7-1 on the season. Josiah Jordan-James also made his return, so that was good to see. It might not be the football regular season anymore. We got tons and tons and tons of stuff to talk about right here on Locked On Vols. And whatever you want to talk about, send it in at _Kaner at Locked On Vols. Your mailbag edition of the show, that is coming up tomorrow. So get me in any questions, comments, or you guys know what it is, concerns as well. As always, thank you so much for making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every day. Now for your second listen, Locked On Sports Today, biggest stories in sports, the take of the day, game recaps, all that and more. That's Locked On Sports Today. Make that your second listen right behind Locked On Vols. Same time, same place. We're going to do it again tomorrow, guys. This is Locked On Vols.